Header tags are your way of telling Google what your page is all about. It tells them what is most important on your page. And header tags are represented by H1 through H6 tags, with H1 being the largest size and H6 making the text be the smallest size. For SEO purposes, you're going to be sticking with the H1 tag for your main titles and the H2 tags for any subheadings. So you really only want to use the H1 tag once per page, but you can break up pages with multiple H2 tags to let Google know about different important sections throughout your page, especially if you have a longer page. So I want to go to the Live Long and Prosper website and I want to take a look to see if they have any header tags. I notice here that they have several larger headings that represent each of their services. But I want to see if those are included as H1 tags. An easy way to see this without having to go into the code is to install a free Chrome plugin called Mozbar. And when you're on the page that you want to take a look at, you can simply open the Mozbar. You can click on the Page Analysis button. You'll see if I scroll down here that it says there are no H1 or H2 tags found. That means although they have several headings here that none of them are included in those tags. This means my recommendation is going to be that they place their services tag in an H1 tag, but they may want to add a keyword in there such as landscaping services. And then all of the subheadings being lawn mowing, landscaping and maintenance, leaf removal, etc., those should be included as H2 tags. So those will still show a large font, but that will show search engines what is most important on this page and what this page is all about. So go through each of your pages and make sure that you're including the H1 and H2 tags, and make sure to include some of your keywords in those titles as well. Similar to checking for header tags, we want to look for certain text formatting that is good for search engines and visitors. Because remember, we're not just solely focusing on search engines, because websites are created for visitors, so we need to make sure that they look good to them. There are 3 text formatting techniques that you can use, and those are creating lists, whether it's a bulleted list or a numbered list, bolding text, and italicizing text. Bolding or italicizing text tells search engines what is important on the page, what is included on this page. So if there are places within your content where you list keywords, such as here we have landscaping services, we may want to bold that or italicize it. Now this does not mean go through and bold or italicize every single keyword. Highlight it where it's important, and you can do that a couple times in a page. If you're not sure which text formatting to use, think about your visitor first. What would be helpful to them? People often scan a page quickly, they don't read long pages, so what do you want to jump out to them? And then that's the text formatting that you should go with. Another thing, in looking at this services page, visitors are not likely to read through all of this. So what they may be able to do is, when they include their header tags, to be able to summarize some of these into bullet points so that people can quickly jump to the service that they would like and then quickly see what would be involved with that particular service. So again, think about the 3 top text formatting techniques you can use, which is using lists, bolding text, or italicizing text. As you can probably guess without me having to tell you, having unique and high quality content on your website is going to be a huge factor in your success. Every single page on your website must have unique content. You do not want to have any duplicate content that is on any other website out there. Now, especially if somebody else has created your website, you allow others to submit content to your website, or you had someone write content for you, you may want to use a tool like Copyscape, where you can paste in your URL and you can search to see if there's any duplicate content. If you don't feel that your quality is quite up to par, I recommend that you start with your most viewed or your most popular pages and focus on those to start with. And make sure they have excellent content, make sure it's properly formatted and optimized as we've been talking about. If you're not sure which are your most viewed pages, you can go into your Google Analytics account. You can go down to Behavior and select Overview. Below, you will be able to see your top performing pages. The home page here is by far the most viewed page, followed by the services page. So those are the ones that we want to focus on first for this particular site. Depending on how large your site is, you may have a longer list of pages that you really want to focus on immediately. Now what I suggest doing is going back to the website and we're going to take a look at these pages. Now I would recommend to this website owner that they add additional content to their homepage because they probably only have 200-300 words here listed on their homepage. It's really not enough for this homepage to be able to rank and to beat out competition. And when I read through their intro here, it's primarily focused on the business. It's all about the business. On the homepage, you want to give visitors what they came to the website for. You want to tell them what it is that you can do for them. If they want to know more about you, they'll go looking for an about page. So this is an opportunity to add more content, make it more about the visitor, and show off what it is that you can do to help them. I can't give an exact word count to the website owner. It's not just about how many words. If you have the most words, you automatically win. Again, it's about having high quality content. You want to have enough content that you are telling the user what it is that they want to know. You want to be able to have enough words that you can appropriately add in some of your keywords into the content and into title tags within the page. You also want to be able to link out to some of your other pages. So the shorter your content is, the harder that is to do. You also want to make sure that you don't have any content that is out of date. If content starts to get old, you may want to consider removing it from your site if it's no longer going to be useful. Search engines do look at how much a page is updated, how often it is changed or updated, if you've added new pages or you add new posts if you have a blog, or even if you've simply made important changes to a particular page without necessarily rewriting it. And they're more focused on the important parts of your website, such as the main body text area. That's going to hold more weight than if you just switch up the navigation a little bit or swap out some advertisements. And lastly, what you can do, whether you have a business website, you have a blog, you have an online store, you can give users a way to share your content. First, this means that you have to give them content that's worth sharing. But second, are you even asking them to share your content? You got to make it easy for them. You want to include some share buttons on your content. So all your pages must have high quality and unique content, but go back, start with your top 2 or 3 or even 5 pages that are the most popular and most viewed on your website and go from there. Internal links point to another page on the same website. These internal links help search engines navigate your website, and if you have pages that cannot be found through a menu or are not linked to from another page, that means search engines cannot find them. So if those are pages that you want to rank, you have to link them from within your website somewhere. So in this instance, when I am working on ranking the home page and the services page, which are my most popular pages, I need to look to see, are those pages linked elsewhere within the site? Because the pages that you want to rank should be linked to the most from other pages on your website. You should link those pages directly from your home page and from the sidebar if you can as well. So in looking at the home page, there is nowhere that links to the services page except by going to the menu. This is an opportunity when I rewrite the content on the home page to make sure that I include a link to the services page. I can also go into the portfolio and can include a link at the bottom where it takes the user to see more of the services and link back to the page. And I can also go through the testimonials and find a way to link there. Just keep the number of links reasonable. Anywhere from 2 to 5 internal links per page is appropriate. But again, remember when we were talking about content, you need to have enough content that adding those links in there is helpful to the users and it makes sense. If you have a very small paragraph like we have here on the home page and you add in 5 links, that's going to be a bit excessive. It's not going to make much sense. Start out by selecting your most important pages, the ones that you want to rank, and go through your website and make sure that they have the most internal links compared to other pages on your website. Having excellent images on your website is great because it really makes the website a lot more attractive for your visitors. But the bad news is they aren't so great for search engines because it can slow down your site's load time, as we'll talk about in an upcoming lecture. But search engines also cannot read your images, so they have no idea what they're about. There's a couple of things that you can do to counter this. The first is that you can compress images to minimize their size, and the second is you can add image alt tags that include your keywords to let search engines know what your image is about. To compress images, you can do that within tools like Photoshop. There's even some WordPress plugins that you can use, but it's best to do it off of your website. There's also tools online such as compressor.io where you can simply upload your image and it will automatically reduce the size for you while still keeping a good quality looking image. You can use the SEO tool by FeedTheBot, and you can look at the image section here as well, and it is going to tell you whether or not you have used alt tags for the images. So you can simply scroll down and it's going to show you all of the images on your website, and you'll see here that it says add alt text. This means that on none of these images has the website owner added alt text. That means for every single one of these images, we need to go back and we need to add in this tag here into the image code. And we can include a descriptive title that also includes some of our keywords as long as it represents the image accurately. And when you upload your images, you also want to use descriptive file names because that is another opportunity for you to tell Google what your image is about. So use the FeedTheBot tool, take a look at your images, see if they use alt tags, and make sure that you compress images and optimize them for the web before you upload them. I really appreciate all the feedback I receive on this course, and I use the feedback to continually improve the course. I want you to be successful, so I make myself available to answer any questions you might have, so don't hesitate to leave a discussion at any point. You can also use the search feature to see if others had similar questions. If you wouldn't mind taking an extra minute and leaving a review for the course, it would really mean a lot to me. It's very easy to do. You can do it at any point in the course, and you always have the option to come back and change it later. If you have any friends you believe would benefit from this course, you can easily share it with them here as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to take this course and support it, and I look forward to hearing more from you in the discussion area. Broken links are obviously a bad sign for search engines and visitors. Search engines who come across a broken link can't go any farther, and the same for visitors. So you want to check in your Google Webmaster Tools under Crawl Errors to see if you have any broken links. You can also use a tool like this W3C link checker to see if you have any broken links. It will process and it will show you the results below. And here, if it says status 404 error, that means that is a broken link. So here I will see that livelongandprosper.com / their phone number is a broken link. And if I go back to their website, I'll see that at the top of their website, this does in fact come up as a link. So of course, if you click it, that means the search engines and visitors will go to this 404 error page, which means they're likely going to close the website and end their search. So it's a good idea to check your Google Webmaster Tools on a regular basis, or to check using broken link checkers online to see if you have any broken links and to correct those as quickly as possible. Now, you might think having a user-friendly website doesn't have much to do with search engine optimization, but it really does, because the longer a visitor stays on your website, the better. If you've looked at all through your Google Analytics account, you may have seen what's called bounce rate. And bounce rate is what percentage of the visitors that come to your site immediately hit the back button and leave. So clearly, the higher the number, the worse off it is. You want to have as low of a bounce rate as possible, because that means the visitors that are coming to your website are finding it useful and it matches what they were looking for. So when I look at the website, I want to make sure that there is a very easy to follow navigation. Now, this is a simple website. They have a very clear navigation system. It's listed in the order, with the home page being first, the contact being last. A lot of websites will list the About page as the second menu item. That typically comes directly before the contact page, because visitors come to a website looking for services, products, or information, and that is what should be listed first. If they want to find out more about a company or contact them, they know to go towards the end of the menu, because that's typically where it's at. So I'm looking to make sure that visitors find information quickly. They can easily do that on this website. I also want to go page by page and see if the website has a consistent look and feel. Here, the background of the body area has changed. The portfolio, it flows. It's a little bit different. But again, we have these green boxes here. So it's clear that this is the same website, but for some reason the services and pricing has a different background. But it still flows, it's still obvious, so this isn't a huge fix, but it's something that they may want to take into consideration. There's also no sidebar, which would give visitors a way to jump through the site to access information that they may be interested in as well. Many times people have a blog and that looks different than the actual website. So you want to make sure that no matter what you have on your website, that you have a consistent layout and look. If you will be having advertisements on your site, you don't want to have too many ads above the fold. This could be Google AdSense, this could be other affiliate offers that you have, for example. And if you're not sure what's appropriate, I suggest that you look at the Google AdSense recommendations. And like I said, even if you're not using Google AdSense, looking at what Google AdSense tells you to do is a good indicator of what Google itself thinks is an appropriate amount of ads above the fold. So it's good to follow Google's guidelines. And I'll attach the documentation to that in this lecture as well, so you can access if you will be offering ads. Your web page's load time and page speed is one of the most, if not the most important element, as it affects SEO results and conversion. Search engines like to see websites that load very quickly, but then again, so do visitors. I'm sure at some point you visited a website and you sat there while it loaded, and what you probably did was click the back button. And we want to make sure that that does not happen to you. So there are a number of ways that you can check your website's speed and determine what it is that you need to do to make it even faster. You can go to webpagetest.org and type in your URL, and you'll see that it will grade you in a number of areas. What's most helpful on this page is going down to the bottom where it has a content breakdown, and it shows you what is taking the longest under requests and bytes. So you'll see here that in purple, it's images. This is what is taking the most amount of time. That means the images on this website are too big and we need to compress them. We can also go back to page speed by FeedTheBot, and we can go to the page speed by FeedTheBot section. We can type in our URL, and this is going to tell us what is slowing down our website and how we can fix it, which is great. So here it says that we have a 70 out of 100, so our web page is slow. So if we scroll down, this tells me the issues that were found. It says that I need to enable compression, browser caching, and then it talks about a number of scripts, CSS, HTML, JavaScript. That means it's trying to pull a lot of code from different files that are not available directly on that page. Since search engines can only read so much code as they go through your website, developers often take that code and place it in external files, and then simply place one line of code in the website that tells the web page to look to that external file in order to load. However, once you start getting too many of those external files, it can really slow down your site. So here you'll see below that there are 3 CSS files, 3 external scripts like JavaScript files, and 13 images, and that is really what's slowing down the site. To enable compression, we can click on the link there and it's going to actually tell you what it means and how to actually enable compression on your website. This is actually done in a .htaccess file, which you can find with all of your other website files. It's simply a text file. What you need to do is copy the text that you see here, add it to your htaccess file, save it, and refresh your web page. And then you want to retest it again. Here it says that there's a gzip compression tool. That is where you can go to actually check to make sure the changes you made are working. Now you can do the same thing for browser caching, which is also going to give you additional code to put in your .htaccess file. Now this is another tool that I really like, the Google Developers Page Speed Insights. This is going to tell you how fast your web page loads on mobile and desktop devices. You'll see here that it's not looking very good on mobile devices, and I go over to desktop. They're performing a little better, but still needs some work. Now when you go between these two, you're going to see that they have a lot of the same issues. So making the one fix is going to fix it for both mobile and desktop devices. But you'll see I want to focus here on the red. Now these are some of the things we just talked about, from reducing the number of JavaScript and CSS files, the browser caching and enabling compression, going down to optimizing images. So you'll see those are the things that we talked about. So this is what we'll go in and fix for this particular website, and it should dramatically increase the speed of this website. In this section, we're going to make sure you are using all of the necessary tools to monitor your website's search engine friendliness so you can be alerted if any problems arise. These tools will help ensure search engine bots can access and index your website correctly, as well as ensure you are monitoring the right analytics so you know what's working and what's not working on your website. It's important that you take care of on-site optimization, as we discussed in the last section, before moving on to future sections so you can maximize your off-site promotional efforts. Before you start working really hard to send a lot of traffic to your website, you want to take just a quick minute to set up some website analytics to make sure that you're tracking all of your traffic so you can see what's working. So you can do this by setting up a free Google Analytics account. When you go to sign up, you'll enter just your basic website information. Google Analytics will give you a short code to place on your website. If you understand website code, then you can certainly place that on your website. If you do not, if you're using a content management system like WordPress, for example, there are tons of plugins that you can install so that you can copy and paste the code within the plugin without having to know any code. Google Analytics is a very powerful tool. You'll be able to see how much traffic is coming to your site, where the traffic is coming from, which of your campaigns are performing the best, what keywords visitors are using to find your site, what your most popular pages are, and you can even create goals such as having a customer complete a form or make a purchase, for example, and see how many people actually complete that goal and how many people start it but don't quite finish that goal. There are so many more things that you can find within Google Analytics. In the next lecture, we're going to go into a Google Analytics account, and I'm going to show you what are the reports that you want to focus on. Google Analytics can be very overwhelming, so I want to take a look at what are the top reports that you should focus on so you know where to find them so you can make use of all of this valuable information. Let's start with the most obvious. You want to know how much traffic you're getting on a daily basis and where that traffic is coming from. You can obviously get a quick gist of that from your dashboard, but to break that down a little more, let's go to acquisition, and under all traffic, we're going to click on channels. Now you'll see the same graph up here where we can see we got 2 visits on the 21st, up to 32 on the 23rd, back down to 6, and here we're up to 81. So you can see by the day, week, or month how much traffic you're getting. If you scroll down, you can see how many other websites are referring traffic to you, how many people are typing in your domain name directly, how many people are coming to your website from paid search. We know that they're doing pay-per-click ads. And what we're focusing here on is organic search. How many people are coming directly from search engines, and then how many people are coming from social media type sites. You can click through on any of these if you want to get more detailed information. So if I click on social, for example, I can see what particular days the visitors came to the website on. So if I am doing a particular campaign, I send out a newsletter, I have an ad out somewhere, this can help you see how much traffic you're getting from that campaign, and you can set up a goal to see how much of that traffic is actually converting for you. If I scroll down, I'll see that the social source is Yelp, which sent me 2 visitors, and I have a 0% bounce rate, which is really good. So that means I really want to work on Yelp, although only 2 visits isn't a lot of information. That's showing me that these people are interested in my service. They are actually taking the time to visit 2.5 pages per visit, and they stay on the site for an average of 25 seconds, which we could increase. So you can go through each of those sources and see where people are coming from. If you want to see which keywords people are using to get to your site, you'll want to go back and you can click on organic search, and this is going to give you the keywords here below. Now, since this site is not receiving a lot of traffic, most of them are not provided. You will see some of that regardless of how much traffic you are receiving, and you'll see the other people already know about this particular business, so they are not actually receiving any search engine traffic for other keywords. Now you also want to pay attention to what your most popular pages are, because that way you know which pages you should focus on first, and you can set them up to convert. To do that, you can click on Behavior, scroll down to Site Pages, and click on All Pages. Now if we scroll down to the list here, we're going to see that the top pages are the home page, which is this / by far receiving 52% of the visits, followed by the services page, which gets 15% of the visits. So those are the 2 pages that the customer wanted me to focus on, which works out. Those are the 2 pages that are the most popular on his website, so that is where we should start focusing all of our efforts, because that is what people want to see. But in addition to what are your most popular pages, you also want to know which pages are your top landing pages, meaning when a visitor first comes to your website, what page are they landing on first? It's very easy to think, oh, everybody comes in through the home page, but oftentimes that's not true, especially if you're optimizing multiple pages. Depending on what a user searches for, they may come to a different page. So you want to make sure that that page is set up to convert as well. To do that, again, under Behavior, Site Content, you can click on Landing Pages. And we'll scroll down here and we'll see that, again, by far, most of the traffic is landing on the home page. But what's interesting here is that people are also landing on the portfolio page and the services page. So I want to go up here to their website and I want to click on their portfolio page. Now I want to think about if I were a visitor and I'm looking for lawn care services, if I came to this page, based on what I see, would I contact them? I don't know. I see a lot of contact information. I may scroll through, but there is nothing on here that is set up to convert. Yes, there's a contact information that is good. That is a way that they can convert, but there's no sidebar. They're not giving anybody any information about their services. It's just purely pictures here. There's no links below here to the contact form. So there's a lot that they could do with this portfolio page to set it up to convert better. So that's where that gives you a lot of good information. Lastly, you want to know what do people click on when they come to your website, and that's what you can do with in-page analytics. So you want to scroll down again under the behavior menu, scroll all the way down, you'll see this in-page analytics button. Now this is really neat. There is a Chrome extension that you can download and install, which is great. If you don't have that installed, typically it will show your page here below, otherwise it will pop it up in a new window. So let's see what happens here. All right, we're going to load this in full view. Now what this is going to do is pop up a little bubble in all these different areas of the website to show you where people are actually clicking. So you'll see here the services menu gets 44% of the clicks, followed by the portfolio at 16%. Over here the contact gets 9%. Let's scroll down. We see the get a quote form only gets 9% of clicks, so that tells us that's why we need to bump that up and make that more accessible. So let's go into the services page. Now we see here they have their quote form at the top. Now it gets 18% of the clicks. So the amount of people that they're getting to click on this quote form is already doubling just because they moved it up. So that is very valuable information. So this can really help you see what visitors do when they come to your site. So this is just a quick intro into the top analytics that you want to pay attention to on your Google Analytics account. Now that we've looked at Google Analytics, I want to talk about Google Webmaster Tools, which is another very useful tool that you absolutely should set up. This is another free Google tool, and it helps you see your website as Google sees it. It increases your chances of being fully indexed and helping it to rank well. If you think about it, if Google is giving you a tool to help you with ranking in their search engine, you should probably use it, and that's why we're going to set it up. To set it up, you simply have to add your site. It's going to give you a few options to verify that you own it, and once you do that, it's going to start populating the data for you within 24 to 48 hours. We can use this tool to see what's getting indexed, what's getting linked to, what's receiving traffic, and most importantly, any crawl errors that Google experiences while attempting to access your site. So let's take a look here at some of those. If we go to search traffic, we can click on search queries, and this is going to break down what people are searching for to get to your website. And on the right hand side, it's going to tell you what position you are in Google and how many impressions you're getting and how many clicks, which is very valuable information. Now also under search traffic, you can go to international targeting, and if you are only targeting visitors from a particular country, you can do that here. You can select the country and you can click save. So this is a local business, so they are only worried about people in the United States because they cannot serve people in other countries. So this can help you rank better. So if, for instance, if you are in the UK, you can select that from the drop-down menu, and that can help you rank better in google.com.uk. Another important tool is under Google Index. You can go down to your index status, and you can see how many pages have actually been indexed by Google. Here we'll see part of the problem is that we have no pages indexed by Google. And if you saw on the dashboard, they have not added a sitemap, which we're going to talk more about later, and that is going to help Google index pages. But right now, Google has none of these pages on their radar. Also under search traffic, you can look at links to your sites. There's no data available because this page has not been indexed, and I also know that there's no links. This will help give you a list if you have anybody who is referring traffic to your site, they have your link on their site. This is where that will show up. Now another very important one is under crawl. You want to look at crawl errors. Here, good news, it says that there's no errors. However, I don't know how accurate that information is because they don't have any pages indexed yet. So we'll see what happens once they actually crawl it. But this is one of the most important features of Google Webmaster Tools because, again, it's going to show you how Google sees your site, and if anything blocks them from seeing it correctly, this is where you're going to find that out. So take a quick minute, set up your Google Webmaster Tools, give it about 24 to 48 hours to start populating the data, and then regularly log in and take a look at these top areas here to see how your website is performing and what you may need to tweak. Just like with Google, the search engine Bing also has a Webmaster Tools account that you can set up if you are interested in really performing well on the Bing search engine. Everyone should sign up for Google Webmaster Tools, but you can choose whether or not you want to sign up for Bing Webmaster Tools. I say it doesn't hurt. It only takes a minute to set up, but I do think your primary focus should be with Google Webmaster Tools. So just like with Google Webmaster Tools, you can add your site, you can verify it, and it has many of the same features that Google Webmaster Tools has, but obviously the focus is on Bing and how you're performing in that particular search engine. One neat tool that it does have is the disavow links, which means if other people are linking to your website and you don't like those links because you feel that they're poor quality, let's say you've hired somebody to do some SEO work for you and they've used some black hat methods, which means they're not doing high quality work. This is where you can go and disavow a link so that it bumps down its importance, so that the search engine knows, okay, you probably didn't want that link. We're not going to give that as much credit. We won't hold that against your site, basically. You can also connect your other social media pages, like if you have a YouTube page, a Google Plus account, you can add that in and it will incorporate that data as well. You'll also be able to take a look at the SEO reports that it has and use their SEO analyzer. That way you can see specifically what they recommend that you do to rank your site higher. And it will also tell you what work needs to be done on a specific page. So that is very, very helpful. It's like having your own personal SEO tool available that says, do this task. It'll help you rank, and you can go step by step and make those changes on your site. So that's pretty neat. So if you're interested, go ahead and sign up for Bing Webmaster Tools. An XML sitemap is simply a file that lists all of the pages on your website that helps the search engine web crawlers find all of the pages on your site and see how your website is organized, and it helps them to better crawl your website. Ideally, if you've set up your site pages properly, web crawlers are usually going to be able to discover all of your pages. But even so, a sitemap is going to be particularly helpful because it can prove how they crawl your site. And especially if you have a very large site, this is something that is very important to do. If you have pages that you have not linked to other pages, they will not be found unless you have submitted a sitemap. So that's one of the reasons as well why it's so important to do that. On this XML sitemap, search engines are also going to find out when you have last updated your website, how often you update your website, and that is information that they use to rank. So it's very important. Within your Google Webmaster Tools account, this is where you can actually submit a sitemap. Simply by clicking on Sitemaps, it's going to allow you to add a sitemap. If you don't know how to create a sitemap, there is a tool called xml-sitemaps.com, which is a sitemap generator. It's really neat because all you need to do is go down, you can fill out this form, you can simply enter your URL here, you can say how often your website is updated, and click start, and it is automatically going to generate an XML file for you. You can download that. You'll need to upload that XML file to your website files, and here you can click Add Test. You can enter the URL and click Submit Sitemap. And that's all you have to do to upload it, and this can really, really help Google and the other search bots find all of the pages on your website, and you have a much better chance of them getting indexed as well. So for this particular website, we've seen that they don't have any pages indexed yet. This is definitely something that would be on the high priority list to do to make sure that their website gets indexed. I'll also attach to this lecture some WordPress plugins that you can use to create an XML sitemap as well that can help your site. Let's talk about what robots.txt is and if you even need that on your website. Robots.txt is simply a file that tells search engine robots how to crawl your website and which pages to index. So now we talked about submitting an XML sitemap so that search engines can find all of your pages. However, there may be some directories or particular pages that you do not want search engines to index. And if that's the case, that is when you would use a robots.txt file. But let's say you decide you don't need one. The thing is, you may actually already have one and you just don't realize it. So you want to make sure that it is set up correctly. Because if you have perfectly optimized your website, but have a robots.txt file that tells search engines not to index any part of your website, you will not receive traffic. So this is important to take a look at, and it really only takes a couple minutes. So let's look at this example. This TXT file, it will look something like this. If it has this / right here, this means this file is telling search engines not to index anything on your website. If you simply remove that /, it means they are free to index any page and any directory on your website. So you can see how something so small can make a huge difference. The user agent specifies which robot this information is for. So if you only want Google to read this, or you only want Bing to take this into consideration, this is where you can specify that. However, just leaving this as is, that means any search bot can use this information. So like I mentioned, you may not even need a robots.txt file, so don't panic if you don't have one. But you may want to have one if you have some of that content that I talked about that you don't want anybody to index. Let's say you have a login form or registration form. Those aren't things you really need indexed in Google, and this is where you can tell Google not to index those particular pages. If you are setting up a website for a client, for example, and you're developing the site live, but you don't want it indexed until it's fully completed, this is where you can tell search engines not to index that site. But of course, once it's up, you want to make sure you go back and change that. Now, there are two ways to determine if you have a robots.txt file. The first is you can simply go to your website domain name and type in /robots.txt, and here it says the file is not found. So that means they don't have one. Another thing that you can do is grab your domain name, and you can go back to this Feed the Bot tool. This is the robots.txt file tester. What's neat about this page is it's going to go into a little bit more detail about what this file is, when you should use it. If you go down about halfway, it says let's determine if you even have one. So you can enter your domain name, select go, and it says no, the robots.txt file is not found. So I'm going to try typing in another domain here and seeing if they have an XML file. It says they do have an XML file, and then it's going to display all of the content here. So you see that this is for any search bot. They have disallowed several directories on their website. They don't want search bots to go into WP admin, which is where you would log into a WordPress website. They have a directory called investigation. WordPress includes their work area, which may be where they test out some different things on their website that they don't want live. So you can see anything within these directories will not be indexed. And those are all areas from what I can see, and having worked on lots of WordPress sites, that you do not need to index any of those. So make sure that you take 1 to 2 minutes to check to see if you already have a robots.txt file. If you do, make sure that it is allowing search engines to appropriately crawl your website. If there's anything that you do not want indexed, make sure that is included here using this setup. In this section, we're going to cover what offsite optimization is, why it is so important to your website's long-term search engine ranking success, what strategies are available, and how you can begin implementing them for your own website. Let's start off talking about what offsite optimization is. Simply put, offsite optimization, or SEO, refers to anything that occurs from other sources that help your search engine rankings. If you want your website to rank well in search engines, especially in the long term, you absolutely have to put some effort into off-site optimization. This is typically done through link building, which means you want high-quality websites linking to your website. And in the next couple of lectures, that's exactly what we're going to explore. Link building is often where you hear about people getting into trouble. They've either hired someone to do SEO work for them that focused on getting the website ranked by any means possible or by trying to cheat the system. Here we're going to talk about the correct way to do link building so that you achieve long-term success. Before you do anything, the first step is to take a look at how your off-site SEO is currently performing. We can do this by seeing how many incoming links your website currently has, and to do this we're going to use a free tool called Open Site Explorer by Moz. You can also do this by logging into your Google Webmaster Tools account and clicking on Links to your site under the Search Traffic menu. If you have an established website, you will see this information here. Taking a look at Open Site Explorer, you can type in your domain name. For this website, I'm going to use another competitor's website since I know the website that I'm auditing does not have any incoming links. You'll notice when I type in the domain, immediately below, you'll see a list of incoming links. It is going to give me a lot of useful information. It will show me the title of the page. It will show me the actual page on my website that it's linking to. It will show me the anchor text that is being used, and this is the text that people actually click on to be taken to the website. It will show me if the website that is linking to me has a high spam score, and you'll see this by the colors starting to turn to yellow or to red if you need to be alerted. The right-hand column, you have domain authority, and without getting too much into this, as we'll get into it later, the higher the number, the better quality the website. So you'll see this particular website has a listing in YouTube. It looks like they potentially have some press. They have been listed in the DMOZ directory, the Better Business Bureau. All of these are high-quality sites that are linking to them. So once you've taken a look at this information, there are a few things you want to look at. Of the domains that are linking to your site, how many are unique domains? Meaning, if one website has linked to you 5 different times, that's one unique domain. So we want to see how many unique domains we have. We also want to know how many are trusted domains. Again, that's where we can look at the domain authority. We also want to know what are the total number of links that are pointing to each page on your website. So are they all going to your home page, all to the services page, or are there a variety? You can find that by going to top pages, and you can scroll down. Here they do not have titles on their pages, which would be important. And here in this column, you can go down by page, and then you can see in this column how many incoming links they actually have. We also want to take a look at what anchor text is used, and you can do that by clicking on anchor text in the left-hand menu. Now scrolling down, you'll be able to see the text that people have to click on in order to be taken to the website. So this will give you a better idea if they are using keywords or if they are using a variety of text to get to your website. Now that you've taken a look at that information, let's talk about how to use this information to increase your search engine rankings. Based on the information you find, you can develop an action plan. If, for example, you have little to no websites linking to you, you'll want to start creating a list of websites you may be able to get a link from. You can build your links by submitting your website to other websites, guest blogging, or even reaching out to the website owner and asking for them to link to your page. Next, take a look at the anchor text. If all the websites linked to you are using the keywords you are trying to rank for, you'll want to change that urgently and use a variety of anchor text, including your full URL, the words "click here," or simply the title of your page or post. Many people make the mistake of going out and trying to build as many links as possible. You'll be better off getting fewer high-quality links, so keep that in mind. Focus on building a high-quality website with high-quality content and doing the other things we discuss in this course. Domain authority is a term Moz.com uses to predict how likely a domain will rank in search engine results based on a number of metrics. It is based off of a 0 to 100 scale, with the higher number being better. As you can probably guess, domain authority looks at your entire domain, whereas page authority looks at the strength of one particular page. The good news is you can find out your domain authority score for free using Open Site Explorer. And you can also find out the domain authority of other websites that you want to get a link from to make sure that they are a high quality site. So let's take a look. Going back to Open Site Explorer, typing in your domain name, you can immediately see the domain authority here. You can also see the page authority if you want to go page by page as well, which is a good idea. Now, the lower the number, although it's not better, it does mean that there's a lot of room for improvement. So it's going to be easier for you to go from a domain authority of 20 to 30 or domain authority of 30 to 40, for example, than it is for you to be able to jump from 60 to 70, let's say. Because the higher number, the better you're doing. There's not as much room for improvement. So domain authority is something that you will want to keep in mind. You want to know what your domain authority is so that you can see how it continues to improve as you make changes to your on and off-site optimization. With a completed competition analysis, now is the time to start prioritizing tasks and identify what you will need to do to outrank your competitors. Like other parts of an SEO audit, it is important to routinely perform a competition analysis to identify any new competitors, see what your current competitors are doing, and if anything has changed. And, of course, to see how you are performing against them so that you can change your tactics if needed. In this section, we're going to cover what a competition analysis is, why you need to do one to get ahead, how to actually go about doing a competition analysis, and most importantly, how to use the information you find to increase your search engine rankings. A competition analysis is exciting because it gives you a sneak peek into how your competitors are ranking their websites. So let's take a look. As I mentioned, a competition analysis is exciting because it gives you a sneak peek into how your competitors are ranking their websites so you can do it even better. A competition analysis is basically looking at a competitor's website just like you just looked at your own in this course. So it can be a lot of work. But by looking at what your competitors are doing to rank in search engines, it's easier to figure out what you need to do and be able to take advantage of what they're not doing well. You may also be able to identify some new keywords that you may not have thought of. There is really a lot of benefit to performing an SEO competition analysis. There are several things you can do to do a good competition analysis. First, and probably the least attractive option, but the most thorough, is to start your SEO audit completely over again, except this time, complete it for your competitor to see what they're doing and not doing well. You can also use Open Site Explorer to see what backlinks the competitor has to identify what opportunities exist for you. So you can simply type in their domain name and it's going to give you the list of incoming links just like you see here. You can also use Open Site Explorer's Compare Link Metrics feature to get a side-by-side comparison of your website with your competitors' websites. Here you can compare specific pages and the root domain as well. And lastly, SEMrush is a great tool for learning about your competition. They have a free option that gives you some limited searches, and if you want a more advanced report or more searches, you can register for a paid account. I like to do a search for my different competitors and get a good overview of what they're up to. So let's take a quick look. We saw here how to see our competitors. Now we can go under the backlinks category and click on Backlinks Comparison. This is going to allow us to enter up to 5 domains that we can compare. Now, as you can see here, this is going to show you how many backlinks they have, how many are referring domains. Although they have over 1,000 links, there are 249 unique domains that are referring to them, and it breaks it down by the different types of domains, if they're educational domains or .com domains. So this is a great way to get a very quick overview of all of your online competitors. In the next section, we'll look at the type of information you should be reviewing when looking at your competitors' data. By now you know which keywords you will be trying to rank for. So to identify your online competitors, simply type each of your keywords into Google to see which websites come up in the first and second position. Those are going to be your competitors. Really not that complex, right? But it'll give you the information you're looking for. Your next option is to go back to SEMrush and type in your domain name. Simply scrolling down, it's going to tell you who your competitors are in search, just like it's going to tell you who your competitors are in ads if you're doing pay-per-click ads. So this is a great way to very quickly find who your top competitors are. Now that you know how to find your competitors, let's see what they're up to. Now I want to take a minute to talk about something that goes a little beyond SEO, but I'm including it here because it is very important to your overall SEO strategy. And that is developing a promotional strategy for the website you are working on. This will help you be found in more places, which will bring in more traffic. And more traffic will increase your web page's importance in the eyes of search engines, which of course can lead you to even more traffic. So there are many things that you can do, even starting with something as simple as making sure that you have a mobile version of your website, because over 30% of purchases these days are made on mobile devices. So you don't want to lose out on that traffic, and even more importantly, you don't want to lose out on that revenue. And as I'm sure you can already imagine, over 85% of consumers' time on their mobile devices is spent on apps. So, does your website have an app? If not, can you create a simple app that you can add to the App Store that can be a huge source of traffic and bring in a lot more people to your website and a lot more buyers for you? Do you have any presence on social media? If you do, that's great. But is there another website that you might be able to leverage? If you sell products on your website, you can add products to the Google Merchant Center, for example. That way that can help your products be found as well. It's owned by Google. You really can't go wrong there. If you're selling products, you can also create product coupon codes and submit those to coupon sites so that you can be found by new buyers who will come to your website. You can upsell them and convert them to be on your subscriber list, hopefully. You can also get press. You can write a press release, for example, about your business, or even better, you can focus on one specific product or service that your website is promoting and get the word out there about that. So there are many ways to promote your website in addition to SEO, and these methods will only help to improve your overall traffic and SEO efforts, but they also give you additional traffic funnels so you don't solely rely on SEO. This is not fun to think about, but what if you wake up one day to find Google has de-indexed your website completely and all your income is tied to your top rankings? Now what? These promotional efforts are what can save you while you figure out what happened. Now, if you're following the strategies in this course, you're setting things up correctly, you're dramatically going to reduce the chance of something like that happening to you. But at the same time, it just makes good business sense to rely on a number of traffic sources and not just one. Congratulations on completing your SEO audit. Isn't it great to know so much information about your website? I know after I complete an SEO audit, I feel so much better about my chances of ranking a website as I know exactly how to go about it. I hope you are feeling the same way right now too. As I stated in the beginning of this course, I recommend you complete this course in order to use the action steps I gave you to do your own SEO audit. But if you haven't started your audit yet, I recommend that you go back to the beginning and start with on-page optimization. Don't skip this step or even do it second. It's important your website is fully prepared before you move on. I've included a full list of the action steps you need to take to complete your SEO audit in this section. I encourage you to download it and use it as you get started. This will help you stay on track and complete the audit in the right order. You'll also want to download the blank SEO audit template if you haven't already, so you can keep track of your findings as you go. And if you get stuck or have any questions, please start a new discussion so I can help. Don't put this off. The only way to see results is to take action. So get started right now.